It's wonderful to be speaking to you today because I'm a longtime fan of your work and particularly enjoy
Oh,
seeing you here in the MCU. And, I love, as a comic book fan, all these big action scenes, but the best part of this show for me has been the dialogue. So how much have you enjoyed working on those conversations with Sam? Because the two of you have just stolen the show, I think.
well, I absolutely love our scenes, our relationship. Um, I'm friends with Sam. I've worked with him twice before on Unbreakable and on Glass, playing his mom.
Hmm.
And so to get to play with him this time, as I am, just to bring myself to it, is kind of luscious. It's kind of marvelous. And I love what they've given us to how they've created the relationship as well. You know, it's I don't know if it's a common thing in the MCU to have the thread of a love story running through the whole project.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting to obviously explore this relationship, and it's a new one to the audience. And we do get some really, I think, wonderful snippets of backstory for Priscilla and Fury's relationship. So did you and Sam talk beyond those scenes to create a shared history between them, or was the fact you've worked together before almost made it easier to tap into that dynamic you have to play
I
with
think
here?
the fact that we worked together before tapped into that dynamic, and I love the way he comes to work to play. He's really, we're called the players, and he comes to play, and he comes ready. So I love that, and we just meet. We're in that moment. We're not intellectualizing. We're not thinking about anything but the moment at hand and what's going on between the lines. And so our work is done pretty quickly. We don't do 5 and 6 takes and things like that. We're just, in and out. It was very easy and a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so good to hear. And I'm something, if I'm right in assuming that you had to obviously undergo a transformation to play Vara the Skrull as well. So was that a fun process for you, assuming that was something you had to do to undergo that?
Well, when I first got the job, I wasn't supposed to turn into Vara.
Wow.
And then as everything is shrouded in secrecy. And as the rose blooms, you realize, oh, I have to go back under the prosthetics again, because I did to play his mom in Glass, and I am quite claustrophobic. But the professionals that I worked with this time they were so quick. They had it down to a science, and it was a husband and wife team, and they were excellent. And I had my big mug of chamomile tea that they had to keep giving me every hour to calm my nerves, but I lived through it. It's a funny thing turning into a Skrull. It's a big, big operation.
I can only imagine. And when you were playing the Skrull, did it feel like you were playing a totally separate character, or was it important for you to find that commonality between who Priscilla is in both her alien and her human forms?
The thing about special secret invasion is that it deals with the other.
Yeah.
And as soon as I had that body, I know what it is to feel like the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's yet another layer of complication to Priscilla, because now, and she knows it, and she's just, here I am. That other thing. That's what I love about this show, is that it really is parroting a lot of what's going on in our world right now, today.
Yeah, well, you mentioned obviously, this is Secret Invasion and we don't know who we can trust. And even as an audience, we're watching this married couple quite playfully interact. There is this underlying tension as Fury doesn't know if he can trust his wife. So how much did you enjoy delving into the subtext beneath the scenes, and obviously what Priscilla is saying in those moments and what she might really mean?
No, that's what made the scene very interesting, that there was all of that volcanic uh, energy underneath everything we say.
Yeah.
I love characters like that. And I rarely get to play that on television. I usually play those kind of characters on the stage.
Wow, it must have felt almost like a stage performance, given how dialogue heavy and the way, obviously, we are just watching the two of you in these scenes. And you're seen as well with Don Cheadle in the church, very different kind of scene for your character, very tense. And obviously, we learn that, you know, Don's character isn't who we think. So what did you enjoy about working with him as well on the project, and how that dynamic changed for Priscilla?
Well, first of all, because of the secrecy, I had no idea that Don Cheadle was playing Rhodey until the day I walked into the makeup trailer and saw him there. That was crazy. But then as we're walking towards the church, I got all my fangirl stuff out of my system. And then we sat down, and he really loves to play. I think we did that scene maybe 4 different ways. You know, every time we did it, we found something else in there, you know, until finally I felt like, wow, this is almost a comedy. But no, let's get to the point. Go kill that man or we kill you. It's that simple. And the way, you know, and to have the choir singing in the background in this beautiful old church on a gray day, it was so surreal. You know, we're sitting in church listening to that choir, and he's telling me, do that or you go. It was fabulous.
Oh, wonderful. And of course, like you said, you know, your character, you are told you have to kill Fury, your husband. So I'm curious, what is your take on why she ultimately refuses, even though she obviously knows what that's going to mean for her, and the fact that Fury has let her down and let her people down to a large extent by not finding him the home he promised once upon a time?
You know, the fact that at that intense moment when we are face to face, weapon to weapon, and there he is, reaching way back to the beginning, to that Raymond Carver poem.
Yeah.
It's the poem that changes my mind.
That's so interesting. I hadn't actually thought of it that way, but now you've said it, it's almost changed the context of the entire scene, which is so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, I know obviously Marvel Studios, there's a lot of secrecy, but we have 2 episodes left. So have we seen the last of Priscilla, whether it be in Secret Invasion or perhaps maybe she'll return down the line? What do you think?
Well, if I told you that, you'd know as much as me, as my grandmother would say. And I don't want you knowing as much as I know.
That is a brilliant answer. But and just one final question for you, Charlayne. Something else you obviously got to play with and have fun with is we see your character as a younger woman with Fury in a couple of different time settings, and that means Marvel got to use that de-aging technology they've mastered. So what was that like for you to play around with that and see the results of that? Did that affect you on set at all?
Actually, I didn't see any difference between me now and then. Actually, it looks like they made me look older when I'm in the present, but
Yeah.
felt like I looked like myself. I don't think they used the de-aging on me.
You know what? I think that's a very good point. And, you know, as I said, Charlayne, I loved your work in this series. And regardless of what the future holds in store for Priscilla, I hope we get to see more of you in the MCU. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.